From Madawaska, Maine to San Ysidro, California. From Point Roberts, Washington to Key Largo, Florida. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. What's going on, guys?
Not a lot.
Good.
What's up?
How you doing, Mike?
Good. How's everyone doing?
Hot down there?
Yeah, it's storming right now, bad.
Is it?
Whoa, that's surprising.
That's right. He had internet problems today.
Summertime storms in Florida.
What's going on in Roanoke?
Clear skies, beautiful weather. We had our nephew go back here yesterday, so he's headed back
Gabe?
up to New Jersey. Yeah, Gabe, to get ready for Penn State.
OH.
I
Hey, Christian, did you notice last week on the show right after we talked and put some pictures of Gabe up, Matthew put "Go Bucks" on the screen? Did you see that was on purpose.
Funny. Yeah, that wasn't an accident.
No.
Okay. Cool. Well played. But yeah, it's been a good week. We've got Tracy, who's our nighttime our nights guy. He celebrates his 10 years. So
Oh wow.
he's been with us 10 years, and I mean, it's like every week he just proves his value. This past week it was a guy had an air dryer issue, another one had a brake issue, and you know, it's that kind of seniority and mindset that keeps guys' costs down. So he's been a great friend and an even better employee. So
So Joel and we started in truck driving school together. So it's kind of like when I passed 10 years, which I did, Joel did. So this is our 10th year from actually being together.
that's great.
3 weeks.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we're
Are
right
you
there.
gonna renew your vows anytime soon?
Yeah, and congratulations, Tracy at the Dawson Fleet.
Yeah,
We're right there with you, buddy.
that's awesome.
So today on the show joining us, we've got Ray, we've got Joanna, Jim Mackey, we've got Kumar on the show, we've got Joel Howle with sports, Ian with the trucking news, and then Christian, Mike, and I'll talk a little bit about the market and what's going on. We'll do trucking with Kumar. Kumar knows nothing about trucking, although the last 18 weeks he's learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we'll do trucking questions with Kumar. By the way, in that intro, we learned something in here. So we took the 4 most outer points of the United States and picked some cities. Point Roberts, Washington is a penne exclave of the United States, so you can't reach it by car unless you go through Canada. But I didn't even know. I thought a penne exclave was a type of pasta. It's not. It's a place that you can't reach by land. We learned that. Zach and I did this afternoon.
Kumar question.
Yeah.
What kind of pasta?
And there's another thing I want to leave you guys with. We can talk about it a little bit later. A guy has a horse. He rides a horse into town on Friday, stays 3 days, then rides out of town on Friday. How did he do that?
Wait, say that again?
A guy has a horse. He rides into town on Friday, parks the horse at the hotel, stays 3 days, then rides out of town on Friday. How did he do that? So you guys can ponder that a little bit. We'll go back.
I'm going to be thinking about that the whole show.
I know. That's why I threw it out there now.
And it's probably going to be a super easy answer.
Right,
I'm overthinking it right now.
It was kind of difficult.
I will say Ian and Zach had no idea all day. I did text it to Nikki Bissett, and immediately she sent me an answer back. I kind of think there was Google involved, but she said no, Taylor got it at Meadowlark. I did ask Tina and Nikki Bloom in our office up front this morning. 5 minutes later, Tina asked me, she said the answer to me in a text, and I could not believe she got it. And she said she didn't Google, so I kind of believe her.
All right. If I have a stick,
So you ride
the
in.
stick to Mike. Who has the stick?
Oh, man.
So you ride into town on a horse on a Friday.
A guy
Stay
has
3
a horse.
days and ride out on Friday.
Yes, a guy has a horse. He rides it. There's no tricky words here. A guy has a horse. He rides into town on Friday, stays 3 days, then rides out of town on Friday. How did he do that?
Is it the horse's name? Are we going there?
I don't know, Christian. Is it? Is that your final answer?
Is that a sure SMB, Mike?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a sure, Mike. I'm not sure what
Oh,
it is.
my lord.
Kumar, what do you say with the horse?
His name is Town.
That sounds almost. Can you repeat it? One
Guy
more
has a
time.
horse.
Guy has a horse. He rides into town on Friday, stays 3 days, then rides out of town on Friday. How did he do that?
He left and then without the horse, and then he came back on Friday, and he got the horse.
Kumar, or I'm sorry, Ray, Jim Mackey, Joanna, any of you
I have-
guys?
You think that the horse's name is Friday?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and it is Friday. The horse's name is Friday.
Yeah.
Christian got it. So
No, he said the horse's name was Town.
Yeah, it's a
He
Town.
said it was the horse's name, but he did have
Yeah.
You're along the right lines there.
He knew
So
what
the
was
horse's name was Friday.
As soon as you said that, I knew that. I've heard something similar to that before. That's fine.
Speaking of that, Joel,
8-2 split.
8-2 split.
That's how he did it.
Split his locks.
Oh, and by the way, did you guys prank call me from an Anaconda, Montana number?
No, we did
No.
not.
Excuse me?
We did not.
That's
There's-
a great idea.
That's
That's actually a really
No.
good idea, but we did not do
That
that.
was C on one of his.
there's no way because I got a call
What day was it?
today,
Then no.
3:44.
None of us in here did that.
We
I think
didn't.
You're lying.
We did use that as part of the intro.
At 3:44, I was setting up, so no, there's no possible way we did it.
Yeah, but then like I answered it because I was like, oh, I'll go along with it, and
Maybe
it was
a
like
listener.
it was like yeah, I wish, but it was like it sounded like one of those spam calls, and it said that I have like a warrant out for my arrest.
Oh, don't it? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, so
No, so I thought it was like one of those prank dial.
before we
just
jump
give him
into
your
No,
social.
Russ isn't tech savvy enough to
No,
know how to
listen.
do
I
that.
figured one.
Okay, I'm gonna
No,
tell
it
you
wasn't.
guys a short story. This happened a year ago here in the office, middle of the day. So I get a call, and it was a foreign, sounded like maybe in Middle Eastern or Indian accent, and they told me they were with the Social Security Administration. And so immediately I perked up. I went outside. I'm listening, and they're like, "Well, somebody is using your Social Security number. We're gonna transfer you to the FBI." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So they transferred me to the FBI. Another guy that sounded like the same accent, but I didn't pick up on it. So I'm going along with this, or I believed it. So they're telling me that my wallet or my Social Security number and a driver's license was found in a bag on the Texas Mexico border, and they asked me, have I been to any border towns? And I said, well, no, but I do have trucks that go down there. And they asked me if I had lost my driver's license in the last year or so, and in fact a year or so prior to that, Tina and I went to visit New York City. We went to a wedding. And one morning we got up for brunch, and I didn't want to take my whole wallet, so we walk everywhere. And Tina knows the city, so she said, "Well, the brunch place is right down the street." So I took my driver's license and my credit card. Between when I went to pay at the brunch place, I had lost my driver's license walking. So I'd put my hand in my pocket and realized, or must have pulled it out while we were walking, and I did in fact lose it. So that's why this whole story was believable to me. 45 minutes go by. I came back in. I'm still on the phone.
Like sweating.
Yeah, I'm nervous. They said that there was drugs in a suitcase with my driver's license, which I'm thinking to myself, because in Ohio you can have your Social Security number, either you can opt for it on your license or off. Well, I always had it on there. So when I lost it, this could be believable. So finally, I put it on mute. Everybody in the office, including our CEO, Jim Stonkus, is listening. Everybody's laughing at me, and I'm like, no, guys, could have happened. And then Jim said, go back, because I told the guy to hold. Now I'm talking to the CIA, I think, at that point, right, Zach?
Something like that.
I go back on the
Just
phone.
transferring you all over the place.
Who does not operate within the United States border, but that's a different problem.
Yeah, so I go back on the phone.
They were just over the line in Mexico.
Jim asked me, he said, tell him they said they were going to call our local police department to come down and talk to me. And Jim said, well, ask him who the chief of police is, because Jim's friend was with the chief of police in Barberton. So the guy put me on hold when I asked him that, came back like 30 seconds later, but he pronounced the name really bad. And then we knew. So I hung up. I was, 40 minutes on this call. Then I had to call the police department because I gave up some personal information on this phone call, which was really stupid of me. But I did. They fished it out of me. So I had to call the police, make a police report. They took the numbers. I had to call the state of Ohio Attorney General's office and report it. So needless to say, Kumar, or anybody listening, if somebody calls you
Don't answer.
from the Social Security Administration, from the CIA, from the FBI, just hang up.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't do what I did.
Yeah, no, that's
a PSA.
I only answered that because I figured it was like you guys somehow like got somebody in Montana to call me or something.
No.
So
And I ended up buying one of those credit block or services where they protect your credit and all that stuff.
yeah.
So nothing came of it. It was a year or so ago, but yeah, needless to say,
Moral of
I
the
walked
story
right
is-
down that road, and it was so obvious to everybody else, but not me.
Yeah. No, moral of the story: if
Well, here's-
if you're a scammer, call Russ.
Yeah.
And don't lose your
Here's
license.
His
what
phone
I
number
know.
will be in the description.
What?
You will take the worm.
Go ahead,
The
Joanna.
Social Security Administration will only contact you by mail.
Well, I found that out later. Duh.
Yeah,
Same with
I've
the
had that
IRS.
pulled on me too, and I actually had my identity stolen, and FBI showed up at my workplace, and
Wow.
they literally FBI showed up at my workplace and at my husband's place of work, and took us down to their office and said, "Look, you've been your identities have been stolen, and they have 7 people arrested on the East Coast, and they're still looking for 9 others." And I was sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, that's what happened to our credit." It was like good one day, and then the next day it was bad. And
Well,
luckily they caught it.
It can definitely
And
happen.
we had
It happened to
proof.
me.
Yeah, and
honestly,
we had proof of where we were.
What I gave them,
by our logbooks.
Christian, Mike, what I gave them,
Yeah.
they didn't have my Social Security number. Within the first 25 minutes of that call, they had me so scared, like something really, I believed it, that they wanted me to verify my Social Security number that they had on file, and I did. And that's the
Not
big
just the last 4. You
No,
verified
I
the
gave
whole
it to
thing.
him, and that's why I ended up having to get the credit guard thing. I had to call the police.
You know what's the easier way to deal with that,
Right.
Russ? The easier way is and we get a lot of those kind of calls on my cell phone for some reason, probably because a lot of the stuff was set up through the business.
Yeah.
And I just tell them that Christian's deceased. He's no longer with us. And sometimes they're like, we just lost him. It was unexpected, but they don't call after that.
Wood chipper.
Yeah, wood chipper. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've used that one too.
I'm real careful now on the phone calls I answer, but I'm not as dumb as I was then that people really call fishing for. Because I thought, man, no one's going to get me. They got me. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm not that gullible, man. They were
No.
really good. They
Yeah, it surprised me that.
No, they are.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they're skilled.
The what service do you use? Do you
I
use
use
like the
Verizon.
LifeLock? No.
Oh.
I mean the what service? Because I was curious about those.
Man,
a
I
lot-
bought
a
it
while back.
like the next day after that. I think it was like LifeLock, something like that.
What was
Yeah.
your first pet's name?
Who was your favorite teacher?
What was your mother's maiden name?
Yeah.
What kind of password did you use?
And
I think
what
how
school?
they
What
got
school
me,
did
though-
you go to so I can get the mascot?
What street did you grow up on?
No, and I think
Can I just
I
send
think-
you a list of questions to answer?
I think how they got me was one of the first things he said, "Have you lost your driver's license in the last year or so?" And I had in New York
Yeah.
City, and had to get a new one, and I watched my credit, I watched everything with my license, and nothing ever came of it. So, but I had lost it, so that made it believable to me. And they played on that, and then they did know a few other things, like they were telling me where I grew up, the street I was on, stuff like that. Which now looking back, even that day after the call, that's public information you can get off the internet. I just wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I think now when they call, when they call about your extended warranty.
Oh, that's the best.
I know.
That, man, they are brutal. They're ruthless. I don't-
Yeah, for sure. Christian, has it been real hot down there in Roanoke? It's been unseasonably cool here. We've had like nights in the 50s and day low to mid 70s.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the day. I mean,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been super overbearable. So
For the,
And then-
for the beginning of August, man, it's been great here.
yeah,
Nice and cool.
yeah, we've
Well, I
had
can-
less tires blow out.
I can remember when my brother did his first year of residency up in Youngstown, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Youngstown.
It's right by us.
I helped him move up there, and I stayed up there with him for a couple weeks. And I remember watching the weather. It was summertime, but I remember watching the weather. And tell me if I'm wrong about this. They had like the days above 80 during the summer. Like how many days were above 80? That was a
It's
real
not
low
many.
number. Yeah. It's like it was like 8 the summer before, or low teens or something. It was some crazy.
I mentioned this on the show before, and I'm real close. I don't know if it's a 62 or 63, but Cleveland on average gets 62 or 63 days a year of full sunshine. The rest, it's either snowing, raining, or just gray. Yeah.
I just looked it up. It is 166 sunny days compared to Seattle, which averages 152. So we're
Oh,
not
I was
too
off a
far
little
off
bit.
from
Okay.
Seattle, though. You know,
Is that Cleveland or like us?
I mean, Cleveland's 30 minutes
it
north
says
of here.
Cleveland, so
Well,
that's
it's
close
different.
enough.
It's different. So
Yeah,
they're on a
I
lake. We're
feel
not on
like
a lake.
there's
Also,
more sunny days though.
I don't know. I think that's partly cloudy days included in there that you get some sun.
Right.
But yeah, it's just nice for the beginning of August.
Better
you
than
know.
Florida.
Oh yeah.
I had a sunny
In
day
the
today.
summertime, that's for sure.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's
I
my work of art.
I got it.
In
That's
person.
awesome. I
Nice.
appreciate you guys for sending that on over, man.
Yeah. Cool.
That's special. Very
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome.
my
that
mailbox.
was all me.
Oh, was it? No.
Mike, you didn't get yours yet, huh?
No.
Yeah, probably tomorrow. Race probably tomorrow. We sent one to Nikki Bissett. Should probably get it.
It came out great too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised because that company was like super sketchy.
Yeah.
But here
Yeah,
we
we
are.
saw them. They came out really nice. It's the one hanging right here. All right. Hey, Joel.
Yes.
Let's get on with some questions with Kumar.
Let's go.
Do it.
Is it that time?
It's that time. Kumar, you ready?
I'm ready.
So just let me lay some info to everybody. The pot is up to $100, and I think I owe 40. I think Mike Doty owes 20. Christian owes 20, so that's 80, and I think Ray owes 20. Right, Ray?
I thought I
yeah,
owed 40.
I think
I might.
I think we charged one of the 20s to Ray. So
I think
anyway,
Russ,
I got it.
think Russ is guessing.
Yeah,
At this point, we'll be able to afford TruckerCon.
I got it wrote down, and we're gonna keep this going, and eventually we'll all collect and we'll put it in a pot and do something with it for somebody either on the show or on a fleet or on Dawson Fleet, something.
Maybe donate to somebody that needs it more than we do.
Something like that, yeah. So here we go.
Remember,
This week,
Drum roll, please.
I'm not exclusive to all these
I'm
questions.
taking the
so-
drivers this week.
I'm taking Kumar 100%.
He's taking Kumar. Okay.
100%. I always
So I
ride with
think that-
Kumar. Let's go.
So it's between me and Christian on the
right.
20 this week. Trucking questions with
And
Kumar.
remember, you guys can participate in these questions
So
too.
make sure no one says the answer if you know it until our drivers get a chance to answer.
Okay, with that, Kumar, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, question 1.
Voice cracked.
What is practical mileage? A, to take detours on the road. B, to be paid by the most efficient distance. C, to send your employer your mileage each day. Or D, to reset your mileage.
B.
So
B.
Was that B as in boy?
What was
B as in boy.
as far as the answer? What was B? It was the
To
most
be
efficient.
paid, to be paid by the most efficient distance.
You sure about that, Kumar?
He was so confident.
I think so. It sounds right.
Is that your final
Practical
answer?
mileage? Was that the question?
Yeah.
That's my final answer.
All right, Joanna.
C.
She says
As in
C.
boy.
What was C, Joel?
To send your employer your mileage each day.
Mackie?
No, B is in boy.
She said
Oh,
B
she
as in
said
boy.
B.
Yeah,
also.
she said B.
Yeah, it's B.
All right,
B.
guys, I'm
Ray.
stretching
I
for questions.
win.
You got
I'm stretching for questions.
Send them
Joel
in.
is absolutely stretched there.
It's B. Ray.
You just
Number
gotta go.
two.
You just gotta start back from the beginning and see if Kumar was paying attention.
Yeah, right. That's what we're gonna do. We'll start the
Yeah.
CDL club.
You're gonna start teaching us.
I think you could probably get him with the splitter switch again.
You like that one?
Or Anaconda, Montana. I don't think that's gonna fly anymore. Just getting phone calls from there.
It's a real place. I got a call from there today. So
All right, easy one. Question 2. Kumar, where are the blind spots on a rig? 1, behind the truck. 2, in front of the truck. 3, on the side of the truck. Or 4, all the above.
All of the above.
Is that your final answer?
Final
Jeez, you were
answer.
quick
You
on
can't
that.
see on the
Okay,
side.
hold
Kumar?
on.
You
hold
can't
on.
see in front of you?
He said it.
Well,
Wait.
there were two answers that sounded right, and I was
Read
like, well,
he answered. Read the answers
All right,
again.
so a blind spot on the rig, where are they?
In-
A, behind the truck. B, in front of the truck.
in front of the truck.
Man, I can't
See.
see
3,
anything.
on the
well,
side
yeah,
of the
no.
truck. Or 4, all the
Well, you
above.
gotta know what. How are you gonna
I
justify
guess
that
okay.
answer?
Ray?
Behind the truck would be the right answer.
Ray
Well, there you got blind spots on the side and in the
See,
back.
yeah.
So.
and the back,
Exactly.
but not
And if
the
you're
front.
close enough to the
I
It's
front,
not all the
Yeah, I
above.
was just
I don't
gonna
think
say
that was a
that,
good
Jim.
question.
That
if
wasn't
it's
a good
close enough
question.
in the front, depending on how close.
Depends
There's a
on
blind
the
spot in
size of the
front.
hood you have. If you've got an old 389 or a W900, it might be a different story.
It depends how high up in the seat.
If that's
you
a blind
sit.
spot, that's horrifying because
I got to tell you
like
guys,
running into stuff.
when Joel and I teamed together,
Well, there's a story
I
about
sat
that.
on the floor
Yeah,
basically.
it was a
I could
horse.
just see right over the dash. Joel sat up as far as the air ride seat would go up.
Right.
Like literally, he was like Tina driving. You know, she's short,
Yeah.
so she drives right up into the windshield. That's how Joel. I was like, how do you drive a truck like that, Joel? He's like, when we hit a bump, he hits his head on the cabinet.
If we could have had a convertible truck, we would.
there is a blind spot in the front because I had a friend that he was
Not
walking
gonna
across
question
the front of
myself.
the fuel island, and a guy in a Peterbilt had his seat on the floor, and he pulled out and run him over.
Well, it doesn't.
Lord.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I've heard of that too, but it doesn't count on that question because
Well, it does. He just
I
said somebody
think it
ran over
does.
somebody because there's a
Joel
blind
was
spot on it.
driving. Joel's driving, and he sat all the way up. You could see the
And if you
ground.
went-
You can't see everything.
All right, Joel, let's go get in the truck.
Yeah,
All right.
So
Yeah.
what was the correct answer?
We need to have
All the
Selby stop by.
above. Answer.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why.
The correct answer is all of the above.
It is all the above. I
So-
disagree,
Questions.
but we're gonna give it to him.
I disagree.
So I get that one.
All right,
Yeah.
he's two to
I
nothing.
guess
Just
so.
coming out of
You
my
were
pocketbook, I
gaslighting me.
disagree too.
All right, Kumar.
I'll
What is
show you gaslighting.
what is the top speed of a drive? What is the top speed a driver should go while operating with snow chains? A, 5 miles per hour. B, 20 miles per hour. C, 35 miles per hour. Or D, 60 miles per hour.
Kumar,
35 miles per hour.
you sure?
Sure. Final answer.
Okay. Ray.
Ray.
I'm going to go with 35 as well because 80 wasn't an option, so I'll go with 35.
What do you say, Joanna?
Did he say 85?
I was like, you can get
I'm
3
gonna
digits out
say-
of them.
Top speed you
I'm
should
gonna
go
say
with snow
35
chains.
as well.
Okay. Jim Mackey.
I'm gonna say 35
Yeah,
as well
35.
because 25 wasn't an option.
You're on a roll.
Because Kumar's done it before. Hey, snow chains.
Okay, what was the
35.
answer,
Nice.
Joel?
It was 35. He went right
Okay.
to the correct answer. How'd you know that?
Joel asked me
I'm a
this
genius.
question. This is pretty interesting. Joel asked me this question outside earlier today when we were going over the questions, and I answered 20. And I kind of disagreed again with Joel, and the textbook he gets it from or Google.
Textbook.
But
I asked Kumar.
and the reason I do is because Joel chained up one time in Colorado, went 30 miles an hour, or
35.
35,
Caught on fire.
and all the chains busted off.
No, but I did lose some bungee
And
cords.
honestly, I've chained up before, and I would not want to go over 20. The way it rode and the road conditions. What about you, Mike? Would you want to go 35 or would you keep it around 20? With chains
Yeah,
on?
You probably wouldn't even drive.
That's not very fast.
Yeah, but I'd definitely probably 25 or so. I can imagine that.
Yeah, I was thinking 20,
Yeah.
but then I was like, you could probably
You're
go a little
supposed to go
faster.
35 because then it properly cleans the chain out from the snowpack that acquires in them.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
Wow.
There you go.
You
That's
guys
it.
need to
Yeah.
weld your
35.
chains on.
Yeah.
Wouldn't there?
Maybe I should start driving.
Yeah.
Know how to put on snow
Teach
chains.
us how to back. Kumar.
Wow.
Years.
I
you
was
could-
going up the mountain in Donner Pass one time, and I threw a set of doubles, and I got them put back on, and I was going like 20, 25 mile an hour. And the guy that was pushing me, helping me get started going up the hill, he says, "You got to go faster than that." And he was with Caltrans.
Wow.
So
Makes sense then.
35 is the correct answer. It cleans the
Yeah.
snow out between the chains and tires.
Well, I was wrong on that one.
There you go, Russ.
That's crazy.
Something.
Yeah.
We're
And
gonna play.
honestly,
We're gonna
when
play a
I-
game called Stump Jim one day, where we're
I
just
know,
gonna ask
right?
questions and find one he can't answer.
Yeah. 40 years on the road, and Yeah.
Or you can stay out of an area where you need.
Honestly, I've only chained up a couple of times when I was driving, and I always drove out west, always in the winter, always across 80 or 90. If it got that bad where we had to chain up, I wasn't a reefer driver, so I had a dry van the majority, or I did a flatbed for a little while, but I stopped chaining up after a couple times. It just wasn't worth it, and I just pull the truck over and call in and say, hey, I'm going to be late, and I'm not leaving until this is lifted.
I'll put chains on to get me out of trouble, but I will not put chains on to get me into trouble.
That is such a good statement, and thanks, Jim. Yeah.
Somebody should write that down.
Yeah.
Make a bumper sticker.
Can we get a T-shirt with that on it?
I like that.
I'll be right on it.
Kumar, write that down. All right.
I ain't chaining up.
I'm gonna replace my ghost sticker with that sticker.
Yeah. So what's next for Kumar?
All right, Coon. Question 4. You guys can help me with these questions. In case of an emergency, what extra items should you bring with you on the road? A, sleeping bag. B, extra clothes. C, first aid kit. Or D, new DVDs.
Or E, friends.
I was gonna say that.
Good
We're
friends.
the friends.
So read the question again. What?
All right. What extra items should you bring on the road? A sleeping bag, extra clothes, first aid kit, new DVDs.
First aid kit.
These questions are too easy.
All right, Jim Mack.
Well, to me, it depends on what time of the year it is, because if it's cold, the heck with that first aid kit, I want a sleeping bag. But sleeping bag or first aid kit would be my answer.
Yeah. What about you, Joanna? First aid kit?
Extra clothes.
Extra clothes.
First aid kit, extra clothes, and a sleeping bag.
all three.
For Robert Selby, new Gunsmoke
No new
videos.
DVDs.
What kind of DVDs are we talking?
Yeah, Ray wants to know what movies we got before he answers.
Country Bears.
So, Joel, is it the first aid kit? I was assuming.
It's first aid kit.
First aid kit.
Everyone
Man,
bring your first aid kit.
This is 2 weeks in a row. Kumar's going to win.
Just straight dominating.
18 episodes in.
35
Kumar's
miles per hour.
finally
Can't be stopped.
Winning.
Hey, Russ, I've got a next week. I'll go against Kumar, but so long as we end up doing mechanical questions on the truck.
Perfect. I'll help
that's
Joel.
my strong suit.
Joel and I will put together some good questions.
All right.
Maybe we'll get Mackie involved in the questions then.
And the DOT violations, that stumped him too. The DOT violations.
Yeah, we got to work on some harder questions. Joel's got one more question I'm looking forward to.
Well, I got two. Kumar, you watch cable. So on the show Shipping Wars, the big rig, that's Mark Springer, he has a company name on the side of his rig. What's it called? Is it A, Tie 'em Down Transport? Is it B, Snorting Bore Transport? Is it C, Southern Shipping? Or is it D, Celadon?
You ever watch Shipping Wars?
No.
Oh.
I didn't even know that was a show.
Oh, yeah,
Get
it's
one
pretty
wrong
fun.
for a change. Hey,
It was pretty cool. Here we go.
How about
It's a
anybody else
reality
watch that
show,
show?
and you kind of get to know the characters. And
That's U-Ship, I believe. They're on the DAT board.
U-Ship they use, and so what is the name of his company?
It's Snorting Bore Transport out of Linden, Washington.
All right.
That's the one I was going to say, too, just as a joke.
Joel, you never let him answer.
He's had enough. These questions are way
He's had
too
enough
easy.
correct
He's got enough. All right, get on to the last one. Did you get that sound bite?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, here you go.
All right, last one.
Hold on, Joel.
Is that Domino's? Who was that? Hey, how about you, Alabama? Roll on. Roll on, highway. Oops. Oh, we got that one wrong. So, Kumar.
Go ahead, Joel.
God, you screwed that up.
We'll just mute you. It's fine.
Kumar, on that song,
It's all
okay,
good.
it goes, roll on highway, roll on along, roll on, daddy, till what? Until A, until the buffaloes roam. Is it B, roll on, daddy, to you get your new chrome? Is it C, is it roll on, daddy, till you get back home? Or is it D, is it roll on, daddy, to the Superdome?
Ooh, there we go.
So, A, roll on, daddy, till
You're a big country singer.
roll on,
Kumar,
daddy.
you know the song.
What's A, Joel? Roll on, daddy, till A.
Roll on, Daddy, to the Buffalo Rome.
Roll on, Daddy. B.
Or is it B? Is it roll on, Daddy, till you get your new chrome? Is it C? Or until you get back home? Or is it D, to the Superdome?
C.
Which one of these dumbass lyrics did Alabama not use in this song? Which one did they use?
He said C. What was C again?
C was
Get back home.
to the Superdome.
No, that was D.
C was
D.
all right. You've been paying attention.
All right,
Till you
so-
get back home.
Joel, you hit your desk so hard that you moved the
Joanna, do
camera.
you know? Is he right?
Can you sing us a song, Joanna?
Go home. No, I can't.
Jim Mackey?
Can't carry it to
I don't
bucket.
have any idea. I don't know.
Oh, nobody's an Alabama fan.
Ray?
Holy crap!
I went to the restaurant one
Good
time.
drop.
Yeah.
Is it?
All right. Just
Till
play the
Buffalo
song.
Rome?
Just
Till you
play
get
the song.
back.
Till you get back home?
Till you get back home.
He's right.
Yeah,
Roll on, Daddy, till you get back home.
I'm so winning.
Back home.
Roll on,
Yep.
Daddy.
He got them all this week.
Wow.
We're gonna change up how we do these questions. I mean,
I
he's
should get this
beating
this
drivers.
jackpot when I win.
No.
All right.
I'm gonna
this
spend it
week.
on myself.
I'm gonna get my Road Atlas out, and we're gonna go over some specs that nobody knows. Like,
Speaking
what
of,
is the maximum weight for your
speaking of
steer
Atlas.
tire in Arizona?
Speaking of road
Yeah, that's
atlases,
the
I got a
Tigger
question for you guys. And mainly, I mean, if you guys have an idea that are not drivers, go ahead. But these are for all our drivers on the show: Joanna, Ray, Jim Mackey, Joel, Mike Doty, myself. Well, I know the answers, but what are the top 5 most dangerous stretches of highway for truckers?
I-80 Wyoming for sure.
Nearly 1,700 fatalities on these 5 stretches of road since 2010. What do you think?
I'd have to say
5, top 5. It could
Interstate
be a U.S. highway,
95.
U.S. highway, a state route, or an interstate.
I think it's
Interstate
Carefree
95.
Highway.
You say 95, Jim?
U.S.
Yes.
That's not on there. This is according to the DAT,
US.
too.
80 Wyoming.
U.S.
right?
285.
285 is a good guess because it's really close to
Atlanta.
one of the roads that are on there. So if you know where that's at, Joanna, there's another road that intersects with that. Ray, you got any idea?
Abbey Road.
I said U.S. 285, the one over in Pecos,
What about
Texas, up
75?
to Carlsbad, New Mexico.
You're real close to one of them. Ray, what do you think? Anything?
So you said the 285 was close to one of them, right?
Yeah,
What about the 75?
it's not one of them.
No? Oh.
Mike Doty, you got any ideas?
I was gonna say 75, but I guess
I
it's
got
around
one.
285.
Yeah.
Well, we have a visual.
Joanna?
I-40.
85, right?
No. The 285 up in when you're going up into Colorado.
Oh, I was thinking 285 around Atlanta.
No,
Me
not
too.
the,
Did you guys say Vale or
287.
Cabbage yet?
no one said that. Do you
Okay,
think?
Vale, Cabbage.
Donners.
You're wrong.
Yeah, Donners was the other one I was gonna say.
No.
No.
Donner.
I know all the
Atlanta, just in general.
Did you have another one, Joanna? Nobody's got any.
I-10.
answers.
I-10 I-10 is one of them, depending on what
Texas.
state. Yes.
Where?
I-10 in Texas was the number
Really?
Yep.
one,
Yeah, I
I
got the list right
believe.
here.
Yeah, it was the number one, the most amount of crashes.
Yeah, it's
What
horrible.
what leads to that? Just the quality of the roads, the planning of
Honestly,
them,
in Texas,
or
I think a lot of it has
crazy
to do
people?
with speed. The speed limit's 80
Well-
miles an hour. Plus, most
yeah,
of
it's 80 miles an hour.
plus.
At night, though, it's different.
So let me just tell you this: the I-10 877-mile stretch from Anthony, Texas, near New Mexico state line, eastward to Orange, Texas, near the Louisiana state line, through El Paso, San Antonio, and Houston. The majority of the crashes were in the
Houston area.
Houston area, which is Harris County.
Yeah.
That was the worst one. Interstate 5 in California, 800-mile stretch from Mexico to Oregon. So there's a visual there of I-10. But Interstate 5, 800 miles from Mexico up to Oregon. The most dangerous portion is Los Angeles County, where traffic volume is the highest.
When we were out there, we didn't go on I-10, did we?
Not in Texas. When we went
Okay.
to Brenham to the cattle show, no.
Okay, yeah.
No, it was
'cause I
290
felt like the
went out.
traffic out there was crazy.
It
just
was
to
a little
begin with.
crazy. Everybody flies in Texas. I gotta be honest, because I guess it's so far to get anywhere. The speed limits are 80 most of the highways.
Well, 75 mile an hour out on a 2-lane road.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
And
Here's the one.
That U.S.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Are you gonna say the one I was gonna say next?
Which one are we on here? I'm just flipping through these. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, Zach's got U.S.
the
Highway
complete-
93, Arizona, 200-mile stretch between Phoenix and Vegas.
Yep.
Most of the
That's a
crashes
good one.
happen in the Mojave County area, which is near Kingman, Arizona, which is kind of where it crosses over the 40 in Kingman, I think, right, guys and ladies?
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm coming out of Vegas drunk.
Yeah, maybe.
I was gonna say that route. I mean,
I've been on that.
That route. It doesn't seem that bad.
I've been on it in a
Yeah,
truck,
but
and when you
it's 2-lane.
Yeah, it's 2-lane.
And there's not
Yeah.
very many places you can pass at, and they get tired of following trucks too slow over the hills,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they take chances.
Trucks and campers. You got a lot of
Yes,
campers.
that's right.
Yeah,
There's
I've
a lot of
seen it
campers
too.
on that road.
The other two, Joanna, the one I was thinking you were close to, U.S. Highway 160 in Colorado. The 490-mile highway segment starts near Cortez, Colorado, just north of New Mexico. So, Ray, you remember going up like the 495 from Shiprock?
Yes.
You know, we used to cut that way to go to Salt Lake City, and then you jump on the 6, I think, up there.
Yeah.
After you cross over
Yeah,
the 70,
491.
you cut that
Yeah.
corner, and it. So Cortez, you can hit the 160, and it due north of Shiprock, where the 491 is, runs eastward to the southwestern Kansas state line. Majority of the crashes are in La Plata County near Durango. Also, that's
Yep.
Wolf Creek Pass, which I've been through
Wolf
there
Creek,
too.
yeah.
That's pretty steep. That's a really high mountain pass. I don't know what the elevation is, but it's way up there. And that's a 2-lane road. So I think that's a big part of why it's so dangerous.
You about the one that comes out of Provo.
It goes
Yeah,
right
fun.
through there. Yeah.
Goes
Yeah.
through Alamosa.
Yeah.
Yeah. there you go.
Crosses the 25, so
Levita-
you're talking south of
Levita
Denver.
Pass.
Yeah. The last one was, and this is the least dangerous of these 5, but I didn't even know this. Oklahoma State Route 9. I thought, Jim, you might know a little more about that. 348-mile stretch going east to west in the middle of the state between Arkansas and the Texas Panhandle. Most of the crashes occur in Cleveland County near the city of Norman. I can't place State Route 9. Do you guys know?
No, I can't.
And I've been to Norman, Oklahoma in a truck. I'm sure I've been on it, but
I was going to say in Oklahoma, 69.
Yeah.
They're through Durant. They're redoing all that right now, and that's the most dangerous intersection. Most people killed in the whole state of Oklahoma.
Right.
Right there at the casino.
That one is dangerous. Yes.
Do you know, Ray, where State Route 9 in Oklahoma going east to west? West to east.
Going east
whatever.
to west. I mean that. Norman and
Yeah, Norman. Goes right through Norman.
yeah, I mean I've seen it. I've probably been on it once or twice, but don't remember much about it. You know.
There you go. Zach's got it highlighted. So it
South
stays
Oklahoma.
south of the city, Oklahoma
starts
City.
in like Amarillo, doesn't it?
Well, it starts in Oklahoma at the Texas state line in Oklahoma. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting, and nobody got any of them.
I don't know why that parallels the 40. I just don't know why they just don't take the 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you drive the 80 in Wyoming.
Yeah,
So,
that 40 is crazy. All the way across.
Mike, tell us what you've been doing with some of your guys this week.
Let's see. One second here.
Screen share it.
Yeah, I only put 2 guys together. Dallas still been on vacation. We had a new guy come on, and John, he's only been running a couple loads here and there. His AC's been down, and he's been a trooper. His AC doesn't work during the day, but works at night when he's parked. So, and his part that we've been looking for has been on national back order, and I called all around the country the other day and found one. on 1-1, and I had it overnighted to his house. So he's heading back there to get it done. So, and then, oh, here it is. Let's see. And then this is Lee. He picked up his new truck in Texas. You got one of those 2022 Mac Anthems.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
those are nice trucks.
Yeah. So this is basically 3 runs. This is 4.5 days. He picked up late Friday afternoon, and he's home now for 34. He got home early this morning. So it was like 4.5 days.
Your screen share is not working, by the way.
Oh, did I not hit screen share?
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
So, yeah. So this was his route, 254 a mile. Usually I try to hit that $3 a mile mark on all miles, but he ran a longer loads this time. So, but I think it's still right there at the DAT average. Actually, I think the DAT average is up there around 270 for vans now, isn't it?
Yeah, DAT dry van for this month so far alone is just 273. So.
Yeah, he was probably right there, loaded mile, and then he was probably right there with the loaded miles, and then this was his all miles.
Did you say with fuel included, Christian? Is that
yeah? Yep.
Yeah, because I got national average without fuel excluded. With fuel excluded, it was 242 just over the last 7 days, and it is up from the week before, so that makes sense.
And what'd you say? What is it, like 273, Christian?
273. Yeah, I go to the trend lines every Wednesday.
Yeah,
and look at that. Yeah.
And then we were talking about melons last week, and my truck has been
out of Delaware, right?
Yeah, my truck has been down. My company driver, he lives in Delaware, and when I was getting ready to get him out of there, my truck was finally finished. It's been down for almost a month. I got a hold of this guy and started running these melons, and these are all melon loads. He runs out to Bedford, comes back empty, runs up to Pottsville, comes back empty. Those are the 2 main places. Running over to Jersey, and a little short one to Maryland. But this was about 5.5 days. Again, my truck wasn't done till Friday afternoon. He got going, and it'll be empty tomorrow morning.
And he was hauling those. He was hauling the melons in a dry van with vents, right?
Yeah, the vented van.
Not a reefer.
Did you have to pop the vents in there, or did that van already?
They've been in there. He's had.
No, yeah, this is my van.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's 2 produce vents at the front top and 2 in the doors, and you're good. So yeah, they're paying well out of that area. So if you can get the money going in, you can get out of there right now. So, and those are the only 2 guys. Like I said, as my other guys been on vacation, have been running, broke down, all that good stuff. So, but the melons, I just wanted to show that because we talked about that last week, and
yeah,
it's doing really well.
Yeah. So, and Mike called me about that. The rates out of there, the East Coast area, where Delaware and I think Virginia too, is still really doing really well.
Yeah.
Dry van rates remain steady. We just went over that. West Coast ports, intermodal congestion continue to drive up freight volumes. LAX volume up 6% from last week. The I-40 bridge opened over last weekend. That was great news. Load to truck ratio, van 5.97 loads to 1 truck, reefer 13.55 loads to 1 truck, and flatbed 47.4 up slightly loads to 1 truck. And then I think Ian might touch on this, but there's 28 container ships at anchor outside the San Pedro port complex in SoCal. The ship with the longest anchor has been waiting to be unloaded for 2 weeks. This time last year, we had 1 vessel anchored in that port area. I thought that was pretty interesting. And Ian was showing me. So I don't know if you can screen share that. Is it up, Ian?
No, we'll just put it up.
Okay, we'll put it up afterwards. But so Ian was able to, in real time, show us all the anchored vessels all around the country, even Savannah, up along the East Coast, and click on it. You can get detailed information about it. I was pretty fascinated today when he was showing me all that. And you see them in real time. It tells you, by the minute, right, Ian?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty neat.
We have LAX pulled up right now in the office, and it's pretty amazing how many boats are in and out of that harbor.
Sitting there anchored, too. But I thought it was fascinating that last year there was one anchored vessel this week last year, and there's 28 that are the longest being 2 weeks waiting to get unloaded. Fuel surcharge last week, 41 cents a mile. A couple lanes, and then we'll get on to Christian. Los Angeles to Phoenix in a van, 441 plus fuel. Los Angeles to Stockton in a van, 412 plus fuel. And on the backhaul in this lane, Stockton back, $1.66 plus fuel. So basically you can run up on that short run, 412 plus fuel, and then come back, $1.66 plus fuel. And I'm still hearing a lot of people are doing the Phoenix lane and that Stockton. They're deadheading to save time, so they're deadheading back. They're not even trying to reload. Reefer LA to Portland average 436 plus fuel. LA to Vegas 532 plus fuel, down slightly from last week. Philly to Miami 260 plus fuel in a reefer. Miami back to Philly $1.50 plus fuel. And the volume, I will say, is very thin down there in the southern Florida area. So I don't think that's going to – I think that lane's going to continue to drop for the reefer. Elizabeth, New Jersey to Atlanta, $2.57 a mile plus fuel in a reefer. Flatbeds, Dallas to Houston, $2.33 plus fuel. Houston to Memphis, $2.49 plus fuel, up 80 cents per mile from this time last year. And I think that's all I got. Christian, you got some stuff to share. You want to go over it?
Yeah, sure do. Yeah, absolutely. Screen share here. All right. Should be popping up. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
All right. So this week, I'm not going to cover our guys in any great detail. Last week, I had a small portion planned after we talked about the most profitable days for owner operators and how we get there. This one, I just named it Minute Matters, common sense. There's one thing my dad taught me when I was growing up, because I wasn't so good with my money then, was that if you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. And that's a true statement, from a wealth and compounding perspective, but also how we end up saving and using our money. Russ, you just talked about how guys will deadhead back, right, to fully utilize their clock and get back. We've talked about occupancy for quite some time. There's two portions that we look at for profitability. The first is occupancy, because you can't do anything if you're not there participating. So participating is rule number one, but utilization is the second portion of that. So what we're going to look at today is a little bit of utilization and time management. But utilization could be a number of things. It can be, do I want to sit instead of taking a cheaper load to get somewhere? I know, Mike, several weeks ago, you said, hey, should I have my guys sit for this load, or should I have gone ahead and just pushed them up there? And those are decisions that load planners and driver managers and dispatchers deal with every day to make sure that we make the most of each week. So here, I'm just going to kind of set the scene. So we have two drivers. We have a driver A and driver B. Both in similar states or the same state with loads going to the same state. So let's assume that they're on Friday. And they have a load on Friday to deliver on Monday. Both of those loads are 700 miles. They all pay $3 a mile. It's $2,100. Both of the loads on Monday can deliver first come, first serve from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So driver A is kind of a prime example of the way that you want to get something done. And so we say that, the minutes matter. It's because legitimately a small amount of time on Monday or the start of your week or somewhere even in the middle of the week messed up can really create or rain havoc on your profitability by the end of the week. And so the first driver did this. He ended up picking up the load on Friday, taking his 34-hour restart, drove straight to delivery after he was done. Right? He took his 10-hour break, really relatively on site or within 30 miles, 15 to 30 miles. But he got there. He was the first truck at the gate. So he made sure that he was there at 7:30, 7 o'clock. Got on over there. If you can sleep on site, that's good too. but he was also the first truck to get unloaded. He didn't have to compete with a lot of other trucks to get there. So he was in at the door at 8 o'clock. He was out at 9. It only took an hour because he was the only guy there and they wanted to get their day started. So you'll find out that driver B also will have this same reload criteria. He's going to find a load that's 50 miles away. He arrives at 10 a.m. He's loaded an hour and a half later and he's rolling. So he's basically got 8.5 hours left on the clock. And I'm not computing fuel or anything else. This is just drive time and load time. He's got a 400-mile trip. He drives out the balance, gets a decent spot for parking, and then he takes his break. And he's at the new delivery the next day between 8 and 9 a.m. to repeat exactly what he did the previous day. So there's driver B. He takes his 34-hour reset. Maybe he takes an additional 5 hours, or he wants to kiss mom a little too long and he shows up late. But he starts his clock at 8 o'clock. The difference is he's 4 hours away from the delivery. So now it's eating into his clock. Well, usually say, well, I understand I'm a couple hours behind, but I can make up for it during the week. That's a real dangerous thought. And the reason behind that's because now he's arriving at lunchtime. And what happens about that time? Lunch. What happens shortly thereafter will be shift changes, right? So he waits until, he waits an hour for them to return from break. And then they have to unload the 2 or 3 trucks that were ahead of him. And I know we deal with this a lot right now, and we talked about legislation to help get guys out of locations. And this is the reason why. It's because time is money. So you can be somewhere, but if you're not going to function properly, you're not going to utilize that truck. So he waits 2 to 3 hours to unload for all those trucks that arrived earlier. He gets unloaded at 4 o'clock, or we can say 3 o'clock, and he still has the exact same reload driver A did, a reload 50 miles away. Now, he may miss that window if he doesn't get there in time. So now he also has the stress of trying to make it there on time and rushing. He gets there in an hour and a half, same as driver A. He's been on the clock since 8 a.m. Means he's 9 hours into his clock with only 3 remaining. So now he's got to pose a question. Do I drive the truck the rest of the way, drive out my time, or do I stop now where I can get a shower, be comfortable, take a break, but no, I'm going to be kicking that clock back. So if he drives out his time, it's 8:30, 30 minutes to fuel, still 250 miles out for the next day. Wakes up at 8:30 in the morning, drives another 4 to 5 hours, and now he's on noon time. And any way he ran this, he's going to be there either driving during rush hour or pushing to try to make up some of that time. So driver B is going to repeat that. And the takeaway is both of these drivers had the same revenue opportunities. Both of these drivers had the same mileage and delivery opportunities. And there were only a couple hours that really separated driver A from driver B. The difference is driver A utilized his time and he followed the hours of service protocol. He had the early bird special. Right?
Yeah.
Monday morning, you get the worm.
I mean,
He's the first at the gate, first to get
Google
unloaded.
gives you a lot of insight of the place you're going
He
to.
was in there before lunch, before the shift changes. He has faster unloading, better parking. His reset time can be shorter or longer for the next load because he was ahead of the game. For those that like daytime driving, this is the way to do it. He was able to get his 34 just like driver B, right? And no rushing. He's not dealing with a lot of the traffic, the inconvenience, school buses, things like that. Driver B, he had a great weekend with his buddies, right? Or his wife or whoever it is. Or maybe we just didn't manage the time from discipline. But when we mishandle that clock management, it really affects the utilization, which means that on Friday, he's going to be short on his paycheck. He's occupying the truck. Let's be clear. When we talk occupancy, that's not the magic recipe just to be profitable. It's also that we want to make sure that we do occupy the vehicle, utilize the vehicle properly while we occupy it. There's several things that really take into consideration when this happens. So we all know that actions and consequences occur when this happens, but there's a much stronger beat behind it. There's going to be less freight available later in the day. You will be competing with more trucks and less freight. So you're going to have a lot of wasted time behind other trucks. Mike, I hope you don't mind me using you. So let's pretend that supply and demand is a dating game and you're late. Okay. Actually, no, you're on time. You're there early. So you go out to the bar on Friday and you find out that's a one-on-one relationship, right? So your ratio is pretty good, right? You're thinking, okay, this helps. Well, let's assume that now the doors are open. A bunch of other people walk in. And, to your surprise,
the Boring Brewing Company in Boring, Oregon.
Well, if this is the male to female ratio, they're going to be really popular after this.
I like that. I like those odds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So your odds are getting better, and so what happens is this is early in the morning. So if you haven't gotten this, I think there's like 80 of them. It took a little while to put this together, but the difference is the women are the freight, and he's the truck. And so you look at the ratio. Not only does he get to choose, but he gets to interview and kind of hang out, find out what he likes and what she likes and what does or doesn't work for them relationally. But as the day goes on, maybe some of those ladies find other people to, hang out with. Now all of a sudden, you've got one lady there with yourself, but man, somebody's crashing your party. There's Ray Lee and the gang start showing up, right? So now all of a sudden you have the odds in your favor before anybody else got there. And now what happens? I mean, you've got no fence. I mean, you've got Ray and Lee to compete with. So now she has to make a decision. Does she want to hang out with the guys or does she want to hang out with you? And when that happens, that's the exact same thing that happens when we look at our day as freight goes on. And this is one of the indicators. It's on DAT. It's on the rate view, which is something that Metalark includes in our package. So if you are self-dispatching, this is something to look at. So this is the market condition. It was last week for vans out of the Miami market. And what you'll find is that there's a line on top of and below each box. So the bottom box is the amount of freight, the lighter box, right? And then the top box, the dark one, is the truck count. I mean, oh, there's the legend. Okay, great. So there's a legend. What you'll see is that there's not a large ratio, or there's a huge disparity between how many loads and how many trucks are here until what? About 11 o'clock, right? And it's funny that it's about 11 o'clock every day that trucks pour into the market. Now, as have been a broker, right, and on the trucking side, we can tell you that the best time to go ahead and get your freight covered, if you have a customer that's screaming at you that it was supposed to pick up the day before, you're going to load that up at 8, 9 o'clock, and you're going to lose money on it to get a guy over there to tell your truck, I've got a truck in, or tell your customer, I got a truck in hand. He's going to be there in an hour. Please stop yelling at me. I want to maintain the business. But what happens when 11 o'clock comes around? So you may have more trucks, but there's also going to be less freight. And just like the bar scene, there was a diminishing amount of women from Mike. And at the same time, there was an increasing amount of men from the morning until 2 o'clock, right? So it is about playing your odds. And I think that's the one thing that we look at. Occupancy is so strong, but we need to look at utilization, because how we utilize, not just that we utilize the truck, because you can't just look at your hours of service and said, hey, I drove more time than he did, and I'm going to be more profitable. It's about being smart. So, be like Mike, get to the bar early.
I want to say something too, because assuming, and this is assuming A and B are owner operators, right? Because company drivers, A and B are both owner operators. There's no right or wrong way when you're doing it on your own, right? When you're creating your own lane, doing your own path, but just don't bitch about your paycheck at, when you're the one that's stayed, a couple hours late. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
It's
like,
so
just as long as you're happy with what's going on, like I was happy being home. I wasn't,
Right. Well, and you have the freedom to make a decision, but it doesn't mean that the consequences don't follow you. And,
right.
and long as you're okay with that, we're okay with it. Like we said, we're here as advocates of your business to make you more successful. Now that we understand the principle, it's, do we apply it or not? But you're right. I mean, if it was an appointment and you blew through the appointment and there's a $500 fee and it's a poor representation of the authority you're running under.
Yes.
That's different.
Yeah,
but
that's different.
But also understand, if you guys go to the rate view portion of DAT, you can pull up the individual cities and you can do a single day trend or a 30-day trend on what it looks like. But more importantly, you'll see that maybe they have a small amount of freight in the morning and large in the afternoon for the prior day. And you can see how the volumes throughout the day goes based off of how hot or how cold those markets are. And it's important for us as load planners to know that when I drop somebody in Miami, I want to know when the truck's into the market. Well, so when I'm dropping them there, we're looking at this long before we put a driver in place.
Man, I agree with that 100%. Christian. So when Jim Mackey or Ray, there's certain people, Joanna, Lee, when they got a first come, first served load, they're not going to show up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when it's 8 to 4. They're going to do everything they can legally do to be there as early as they can that morning at the beginning of that window so they can get on to something else and get going. So, and it does trickle down in your week if you show up at 2 o'clock on that Monday first come, first served load that closes at 1600. And what if, like you said in that illustration, that time of day, they're probably backed up. There's probably, things that happen that you're going to be behind some trucks. So instead of a typical 2-hour window to get unloaded, you might be there till 1700. And then what do? You got a 14-hour clock that doesn't stop, and it's hard to load in the evenings. I mean, you're going to lose a day.
Yeah.
And there's one day a week I tell my guys, man, if there's one day that you're early or not late,
It's
you know,
Monday.
No, I go with Friday, because that can ruin being late late for a drop, and you got to pick up, and now you miss the pickup, and now your weekend is and you're trying to scramble to cover, put money on the truck Friday afternoon.
I guess it could be 2 days, because if you start your week out being late like that, it's just a domino effect. But you're right, Mike. On Friday, you want to get in early and get out so you can get your weekend run, because everybody's trying to get out of work on those docks on Friday afternoons, and you don't want to be the one standing there or knocking on the door because you were, later in the day delivering at a first come first serve on Friday. And
I'll give you an example. Dalla delivered. Was there 2:30 on a Friday? 3:00. His appointment was at 2. He had he hustled. It wasn't he wasn't late. He didn't wake up, not that type of thing. But it was like 700 miles he had to run, quick. And he got there at 2:30, 3:00 up there in Minnesota. Had to wait all weekend. They closed 2:00. They closed on a Friday.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. So, and Russ, you said it earlier, but if you're 4 hours late on Monday, you are going to lose the day's worth of revenue, even if you don't lose the time, because of how the runs are.
Yep.
You looked at it. If the trucks start entering the market at 11, 12 o'clock, it's one thing to try to wait out a good market. It's another if you're in a bad, you need to get moving. So you're going to lose money every day you're running, which will equate to $1,500 or better of gross revenue, or you'll actually miss a day just from delivering pickup schedules. Yeah. And if you end up getting behind on a Friday, like Mike said, it's one thing to be late on a Tuesday and have to lay over. I still have all of the freight on me enough. If you're late on a Friday, or you have a truck order not used late in the day because you couldn't be there earlier, there's no freight left. And when you show up on it for Saturday, sometimes we end up getting, we call it luck, but that's just because we work hard. But sometimes you get lucky on a Saturday, but 9 times out of 10, you're bleeding by the time Monday comes around, and you can't wait to get another full weekend for a paycheck.
Yeah.
So do yourself a favor. But just thought I'd shed a little light. We talked about occupancy, and I wanted to bring utilization in the equation.
Yeah, that's
another
good.
thing.
Yeah.
Pots on that. What I brought up, that $6,400 he did, he lost Monday because we did an 80-mile load, $1,000, ran these melons, 80 miles, and supposed to deliver 7 a.m. Sunday morning. He gets there at 7 a.m. They tell him his appointment's at noon. Goes back at noon. They tell him they can't get him in yet. They finally get him in at 1:30. Didn't get out of there till 4. So he still did great revenue in 4 or 5 days, but
he still lost.
It's still lost
Sunday.
Monday.
Yeah. Monday, and that's his money, right?
Right.
So.
All right, I really like that, Christian. I'm 100% with you. So Jim, Joanna, Ray, you guys do it. You always do it right. If you got a load of first come first serve on Monday morning, you guys show up at 8 o'clock. Try and have a fresh clock so you can get on to your next one. It's just common sense.
Absolutely.
We like it as much as your bank accounts do. Good job.
Yeah. Joanna, where are you at? I didn't even look when we were talking earlier.
I'm in where am I? I think I'm still in West Virginia.
Lost in West Virginia.
Silverton. Yeah.
Talk about dangerous highways.
Silverton.
Yeah.
I'm just passing Silverton exit. I'm on the 77 North. I'm on my way to Zanesville, Ohio.
Oh, okay. To the Buckeye State. Go Bucks.
Yes. Yeah.
Never.
So I got an appointment at 10 in the morning, and we're talking about, the first come, first serve. And I Googled to see how early I could be.
Yeah.
If I can get on to go pick up my next load.
Ray does the same thing. He always Googles and he looks at the reviews of the places. Right, Ray?
Yep,
So
I do too.
Yeah. Got to know what you're getting into. Speaking of Ray, so we sent Ray out on an assignment this week to the old Salina 52 truck stop. It's pretty funny that on their web page or social media page, the Salina 50
Twitter.
Oh, was it their Twitter? Okay, I'm not in any of those. It said
Tweeter.
They have a swimming pool at the Salina 52 truck stop, above ground pool. It says on their Twitter, it says it's a good day to take a swim. Stop in the Salina 52 truck stop. Let the kids swim with the truckers while you shop. Free swim with $20 purchase. So we sent Ray. He was in the above ground pool at the Salina 52 truck stop in his floaty.
You're a lot taller than I thought you were.
Who's that hand guy right there?
And this is the same truck stop that blew up with fireworks a couple of months ago.
All right.
Yeah, smoke
I use
responsibly.
squishable water to turn out the fire.
Use Dosakis.
So having said that, thanks, Ray, for being on site at the Salina 52. They got all the flames out, I guess, from the fireworks fire, and now they're back to swimming in the trucker pool.
Is that kid floating on a piece of cheese?
I don't know, man. It said that was literally what was on their page. Let your kids swim with the truckers while you shop.
Wow.
I had to send it to Doty. I couldn't believe it.
How many gallons do you have to pump before you get a free swim?
Yeah. I don't know. Ray would know. He was there.
You have to make a $20 purchase.
Yeah, $20 purchase.
Yeah. Everybody want to ride on my crab float.
So Ian, speaking of what's in the news, Ian, can you give us an idea of what's going on in trucking news this week?
Crabs.
Yeah, wanted to talk about Memphis a little bit. I got it pulled up here on the screen for the office. We'll put it up on the podcast on the YouTube. It is looking green, which is something that it has not looked like for a while.
Oh, with the bridge.
Yeah, bridge is open. Woo!
Do that again.
Woo! There's a little bit of red once you get past the bridge going east, but I think that's just normal Memphis traffic. So it is getting back to normal. Those hour, sometimes 5 hour long waits to go across are hopefully in the past. So anyone going through there, please let us know your experience. Jim, you didn't come through there recently, did you? No,
I haven't been over there.
Okay.
Joanna's been out west and back east, so she hasn't been through there in a while.
Next thing I want to talk about was storms in the Atlantic. Right now, there are 2 cyclone formations. We're going to keep an eye on them and keep you updated if those turn into anything.
Off the coast of South Africa? Is that where they're at?
They're off the west coast of Africa.
Yeah.
Almost one of them is almost to South America as well. So we'll keep an eye on them. There is a storm. What was it? There actually is like an actual named storm out in the Pacific. Tilda.
Usually those go west though.
Yeah.
Going towards Hawaii.
It could be going towards Hawaii, but that also could possibly slow down some shipping. Another thing going on out there. Yeah.
That might help with the congestion at the port.
Or might just make a delay for a bunch of ships to all come up at once. So who knows? Going into the maritime news, the Federal Maritime Commissioner says capacity won't recede until late 2022.
I saw that this week.
So hopefully this continues, honestly. It's helping bring up rates. It's making capacity tighter on the West Coast in some places, and that's only going to help us.
I think there needs to be a balance, and I think you would agree, Christian. We do need to get some kind of a balance in place with the volume and the capacity. I mean, it is clearly off. They are saying, I read that today too, or yesterday, that they are saying that they're looking at probably late 2022 till it starts to balance out. What are you hearing?
I mean, I'm reading the same articles, right, or similar ones, and a lot of piggybacks going on. The data says that's where it's going to be. I always trust the data. If you have facts about tonnage and what shipping potentials are, I'm not going to get into trade policy and everything else. Sometimes that has an issue with it, and if you look about every 15 to 20 years, we usually end up starting a fight somewhere, and that has the tendency to affect some of it as well. But I mean, I'm optimistic, and it's kind of funny because you become jaded after a while, where things get good, then they crash. Things get good, and then it has the ebbs and flows. But I like the consistency that I like the consistency that we have now. I think there's still some supply chain holes and gaps that need to be filled. When you've got brand new pickup trucks sitting around and we don't have production and things like that. So I think the rebound.
I think that's what I mean. There needs to be. Look, I love it that there's more freight than there are trucks. It helps the rates, but I know that that's not sustainable. We've got to find a good balance so that it's a win-win for everybody, for both sides, for the economy.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we've seen some levels, and flatbed was one of them, but we've seen, van and reefer, levels start to level off. We just haven't seen the prices to follow yet. Typically when we see any small adjustment in a hot market, the bigger adjustment comes from pricing. Pricing's up, but we have to remember where fuel was, guys. If we were doing $2 a mile last year and we're doing, 220, 230, 220, 235, we're break even from last year. Fuel has got a large portion of the increase of the cost that we have on day to day when we look at fuel surcharge.
It does.
So, but yeah, I'm with you. We don't want to see larger companies or smaller businesses, mom and pop, have problems, either with employment because of cost and everything else, where we're putting temporary supports up instead of permanent structures.
Right.
About trucks, we talked about.
Go ahead, Mike.
We talked about buying trucks before, and I talked to Russ a little bit about this the other day. You buy, when I think I asked you this before too, Christian, you buy used right now, you wait, you buy new if you're going to purchase equipment.
Well, if you buy a new truck right now, you put an order in
6 months.
Brian at Truckworx was telling me last week. Yeah, he said we can build the truck on the computer right now, but it's not going to hit your terminal it's not going to hit our lot to come to you till next February at the earliest for a new truck.
Yeah, and what are they doing as far as pricing? Have you talked to Brian as far as what the pricing of those trucks are looking at from last year's?
They're not discounting them much. I can tell you that.
Well, no, I understand that.
Some people are.
We're right back to the dating game of supply and demand. It's
yeah, there are people that are paying over sticker for trucks, and I don't know who they are, and I don't know where they're buying them. Yeah. But that's.
Definitely, yeah.
Because they want to be bumped up. It's just like anything, and they don't want to wait till February, so they're trying to bump in line and pay more for it.
Yeah, I just didn't know from a steel, a steel cost and everything else. And maybe it's just a question we ask Brian and see if he can get with us to find out what's the cost of the same spec last year to this year. I get people like to ramp up the prices just like they do real estate, but the truck cost will vary some. But I'd like to see what the overall sticker price is for the same truck last year, spec'd out to, this year, if we did a build sheet.
Yeah, and when Brian was on with us, he did mention something about there was an additional cost from over 2020 trucks to 2021. I forget what he called it, but maybe it was a steel surcharge or something. You were on?
Yeah.
Do you remember, Christian?
Yeah, we had. We talked about the utilities. Was it Utility or Great Dane that gave their pricing early, and they talked about the steel surcharges. It's trucks and trailers. They're made from a lot of the same materials, but I'd just like to see what it would look like from a dealership perspective on where the prices have gone. You've already got a mortgage payment. Not saying $5,000 doesn't matter, but if it's a $12,000 or $15,000 exchange, that's a big price tag.
Yeah,
that's a whole lot more running you have to do before you have that title free and clear in your hand.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and I've talked to Brian about it. Mike and I have been talking about it. We want to buy some new trucks, maybe one a month, one every or two every. So we're gonna stagger it.
I'd be curious to see.
We haven't done it yet. We haven't done anything. I haven't ordered them.
But I was mentioning this to Russ. I'd be curious to see the numbers on, and how do I put this, on the truck price increase versus the rate increase. Like, is that
Yeah. Are they running parallel paths or not? Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just from a financial perspective, I never believe on betting on anything that I have to wait 6 months to have come to fruition.
That's
so my thing is if I can buy it today and we can I don't care if you have higher APR finance rates because the truck is overpriced. I get it, but we can start making money with it today. I'm glad, the market says it's good till the end of 2022. Well, if half their timeline is wrong and we have till April of next year when things fall off, I'd rather use the last 6 months of this year plus the next, or whatever it is, plus the next first 4 months of next year to be making money with that truck, paying that note down. So I'm at a principal and interest exchange, as opposed to, because I'm not a guy to write $170,000 checks out of my bank account for trucks, especially with where interest rates are and the cost of money. But when guys are even walking into 30 or 40 or 50 now, $60,000 trucks, it's the same thing. If you can have them today and utilize them, whether it's yourself as an owner operator, or whether you're an owner operator with another driver that that's going to operate the vehicle, you're going to be much further ahead. The market's here today. We're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you buy a truck, the new truck should hold their value, but we know the used truck market's values can be the first one to sink because banks don't hold those notes.
We do have, we own quite a bit of trucks here, but the one advantage we do have is the Metal Arc full service lease program has really helped us a lot. Those are guys that we would probably be ordering a new truck for, that wants to be in a new truck, full service, so they've got warranty and stuff. So it's a little bit pricier than going out and buying one, and the payment would be a little bit less if you did it yourself. However, you can get into that truck without any money down. You're not getting any financing on it. It's all taken care of, and
maintenance risk, everything else, and they're
everything
beautiful
is
trucks.
eliminated.
Their
So
selection of trucks is gorgeous.
they're beautiful. And matter of fact, we mentioned that Mack truck that Lee got, Ray. We need to we'll get a picture of that on the show. We'll maybe have Lee send a picture in tomorrow, and we'll get Matthew to put it up. But yeah, we'll touch base with Brian over the next couple of weeks and have him call in and give us a little update, because I think we're all curious on trucks.
Yeah.
Ian, anything else in the news you wanted to hit?
Yeah, there was just a couple things. 33 people were indicted in a stage accident scam. This was something that was kind of coming together in Louisiana, I think. Basically, people were hitting trucks and saying, they would have multiple people in the car and have a witness, say, hey, it was the truck's fault, blah, 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 blah. And they got caught. People were, people were
ringleader was
making
an attorney.
A lot of money. Yeah, the
ringleader was an attorney. He was indicted or arrested. Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, they collected like $1.5 million altogether, and now they're all in a lot of trouble.
Guys, think about it when you're out there on the road. They were targeting carriers that they know have good insurance, and that big companies, car. And I was really shocked when I read that, because in the back of my mind when I was trucking, I think I've thought of that, but I was like, no one would really try and run into a truck on purpose. I mean, it's so risky, you could die.
Right.
But I don't know how they were doing it, but you can read that. Did you hear about that, Christian?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And I think you guys covered it a couple weeks ago, briefly. Yeah, it's an insane time.
It is. Yeah. So, and needless to say, we have forward-facing cameras on the Dawson fleet, the Deaton fleet, all the trucks
and
that
side.
And down the sides. Those, man, what a great time to have those. And I will tell you that there have been incidents already at Metal Arc that the camera has saved us.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
And by the way, even if you're on the losing end, from a cost perspective, not just insurance savings and safety, but you can come to a determination really easily. We always take the driver's word and look at it from that point of view. But once you have the camera there, they can walk through step by step what was happening, and it sure beats an accident review piece of paper. It's their driving record. That's what we're here to protect.
Exactly.
Yep. No offense to the four-wheelers out there that stop in front of them. So.
Yeah.
One more thing. We've been talking about electric trucks and just electric in general. This was kind of surprising to me. DHL has ordered 12 electric airplanes. Yeah. That completely came out of left field. I really wasn't expecting that, but yeah, they're going to be. I think over in Europe they're going to be running them, but who knows what that could lead to? Honestly,
I never even thought of that either.
Right.
You guys talking about electric? You heard about who was it? Trevor Milton with Nikola. He had the truck up there that had the U.S. Express logo on it. It was basically like competing against the Tesla truck. Yeah, he was indicted on fraud charges in Manhattan last week.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That wasn't the guy with the Lordstown plant, was it?
I don't know about his plant. I know that they were
Okay.
pursuing him because he was projecting an image that wasn't clean. But I know the CEO is keeping his focus on keeping it moving. I believe what happened was there was not a rate of return, and investor, it's just all
That
blew up in
happened-
his face.
So the Lordstown
Yeah.
plant here in Ohio.
That guy was
I wonder
saying
if it's
to
the
the
same
invest.
company.
Yeah, what he was doing was he was telling the investors, or potential investors, that he had so many orders for these trucks already when those orders really did not exist. So it was misleading the shareholders.
It might be the same guy.
Yeah, the SEC does not take kindly to that.
They
When
don't
you're
play.
when you mess with rich people's money, they come after you. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, Joel, can you give us a quick update on sports? What's going on in sports for those of us that are on the road or haven't had time to check it out?
All right, changing gears. Sports. Welcome back, sports fans, to episode 18 with me, Joel Howle, leading off the NFL Hall of Fame game tomorrow night here in Canton.
I'll be going.
Be the Steelers
Have fun
and
watching
the
the fourth string.
Cowboys. You betting on that one, Russ?
No, and I'm I'm going with AC, one of our drivers, and he lives right there. He got the tickets. I mentioned that before, but he's a Pittsburgh fan, and I'm not. Clearly, I'm a Browns fan, so definitely looking forward to talking some smack with him and his family and every other person waving a yellow flag out there.
He'll be on the Cowboys sideline. All right, as I stated, that was the Hall of Fame game. And football fans, as you know, every year here in Canton, we have the Hall of Fame. And this year, here in 2020, we'd like to recognize the
2021.
Sorry, am I
2021.
off a year?
Yeah, it's okay.
Here in 2021,
We like.
we're inducting 8 new inductees. So without any further ado, let's start off with offensive guard from LSU. Played 13 seasons, 1998 to 2010 as a Steeler. Finished his career as a Jet and an Arizona Cardinal. Who are we talking about? Congratulations, Alan Faneca, our first inductee. Our second inductee, Alan Faneca.
Never heard.
Yeah, congratulations, anyways.
Congratulations, Alan. Our second inductee.
Isn't that a Adam Sandler song? Something Faneca.
Yeah.
Thinking of the drink, orange or grape. Our second inductee was a head coach at Oakland. Started in 1979. He coached the Raiders till 1987. Was with Seattle 1992 to 1994. 12 seasons. Ran a 105-90 record. Was in Super Bowls 15 and 18. Congratulations, Tom Flores.
Okay.
Inductee 3 was a wide receiver, Georgia Tech. Played with the Detroit Lions, 2007 to 2015, 9 seasons. Unfortunately, he spent all of them in Detroit. No Super Bowl, but congratulations, Calvin Johnson.
He's already in the Hall of Fame.
That's yeah.
Already
Yes,
5
oh my
years.
God.
Yep. Our fourth inductee, currently the GM, the 49ers, alumni Stanford. Drafted 1993 by the Tampa Bay Bucks. Played 93 to 03. Spent his last 4 years in Denver, 04 to 07. 15 seasons, 9 Pro Bowls, 1 Super Bowl. Congratulations, John Lynch.
Let's
Our
go.
fifth inductee, alumni Tennessee, quarterback, 18 seasons, 266 games, 71,940 career yards passing. Played in Indy from 1998 to 2011, in Denver from 2012 to 2015.
And Louis Vasquez
2
is a
and
good
2
friend.
in the Super Bowls. Congratulations to Brad Paisley. No, that would be
Peyton Manning.
Mr. Manning. Congratulations. Peyton Manning, our sixth inductee. Inductee was with Pittsburgh from 1968 to 2014. And no, he did not play. That's 47 seasons. He was a Super Scout. He put the 70s Steelers dynasty together with a steel curtain. Congratulations to Super Scout Bill Nunn, our 7th inductee. Alumni Tulsa, wide receiver.
Hey, can I tell you something? My mom met Bill Nunn on a plane. Do you guys remember this? So my mom doesn't follow football, but my dad and I do.
It's a trucking company. Nunn.
Well, no, she's sitting next to this guy on the plane a few years ago, and he has this huge ring, and I don't know, I guess it was a Super Bowl ring for one of the years they won. Pittsburgh won the Super Bowl, and my mom says, well, my son's a huge football fan, so she got his autograph to give to me. And I'm like, Mom, I hate the Steelers. Right in front of her, I ripped it up. That really happened a few years ago.
But our 7th inductee was a wide receiver at Tulsa. Played with the Dallas Cowboys 1973 to 83, 11 seasons, 3 Pro Bowls, 3 Super Bowls. Was the Dallas all-time leading receiver at one time with 7,800 yards. I don't know if that's still true. Congratulations to Drew Pearson. And our 8th and final inductee played at Michigan, was a defensive Heisman Trophy, played 18 seasons, 1998-05 with Oakland Raiders, 06 to 2012 Green Bay, and 13 to 2015 finished his career out with Oakland.
What position?
Cornerback. Corner, CB.
Yeah.
That's 9 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowls, 50 interceptions. Congratulations, Charles Woodson. And this
Finally
is the 2021
NFL
you
Hall of
forgot
Fame.
somebody.
Who, you?
No, Bill Cowher.
He's not in.
Yeah, there's his face right off the highlight.
That's next year. If I'm wrong, I will
yeah, because
correct
they
myself.
had the dramatic.
Oh, well, these are the 8.
Oh, they did it on on one of the half game shows last year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember
Joel.
Oh, as I was. Whenever I get this
One of the
information
greatest
from.
coaches of all time, Bill Cowher.
Well, we'll get you in, Bill. Sorry about that.
that. Well, listen, Joel. Thank you for the update with the Hall of Fame game. With the,
You want to hear the rest?
Yeah, we got to get on out of here, so we'll catch up on some baseball next week.
All right, we'll do that.
I want to tell Joanna, Jim Mackey, Ray, thanks for joining us. Your input is always valued. Christian, you got anything else? You good? Doty?
No, I'm good.
Kumar? Zach? Ian?
No, sir.
If not, a couple shout-outs. Over the Road Apparel, work clothes for the modern-day trucker. Truckworx Kenworth of Dothan, Alabama. Our friend Brian down there at Truckworx. Prime Wellness and Performance in San Antonio, Texas. That's Louis Vasquez's place. Super Bowl champion Louis Vasquez.
What's up, Louis?
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And go Browns, go Indians, and go Cavaliers.
It's actually the Guardians now.
Everyone agrees.
I got till next year.
Okay.
On the Gladiators, Guardians, whatever they're going to call them.